Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 26 of X-Men, written by Jerry Duggan. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. Now, this issue opens with a small dialogue explaining how Krakoa was for lovers. For Wilson Fisk and Typhoid Mary stepped onto the living island and lived a long quiet life of bliss and paradise. Well, that's how the story would have concluded if it wasn't for the intrusion of mankind, because Orchis simply couldn't handle mutant success. Because at the Hellfire Gala the humans' hatred was on full display as the humans were separated from the mutants by force. And it didn't even matter what position a person held, for even the ambassadors was put to death. So with the Krakoans on the run, we pick up with Emma and Wilson Fisk in the sewers discussing their next moves. Because both Emma and Wilson is fully aware that Orchis's next step will be to seize all of her assets, which includes the Hellfire Club. So if they want any hopes of securing resources for their war effort, Emma must make a tough call and put her fate in Wilson's hands. But just because they share a common enemy doesn't make them equal in this arrangement. Because Wilson tells Emma that she will work for him moving forward. Now with that said, the Hellfire Club was newly reconstituted with Wilson Fisk as the new White King. But don't get it twisted, nobody dared to utter his other name, especially in his presence. For he no longer went by the name Kingpin. And as for the previous White Monarch, Emma Frost, it is said that she went missing. Some say Emma Frost died on the night of the mutant massacre, others say she was captured by Orchis while a tabloid assured its readers that she fled to Araco and was being protected by her mutant cousins. For Orchis has won the war against mutants. But the resistance was growing stronger every day, so much so that some of the heroes hid in plain sight, like the club's new Black King, Tony Stark. Now Tony had been defeated by elements of Orchis, and his Iron Man technology had been inserted into the Sentinels program. So by day Stark was playing possum, telling his war stories while sipping on a glass of ginger ale. But by night he was designing his most dangerous armor yet, one he was content to die in if need be. And as for the X-Men, like we have seen before, they hid below the streets and struck in the dead of night. Now the reason why they did that was because Orchis had eyes everywhere, including artificial intelligence scouting for any words of mutant support. The tiniest slip-ups could send someone to an education camp. So with the audience's attention on Tony, Emma, now known as Hazel, quickly took him by the arm and escorted him to a private room. Now, once in that room, Emma let it be known that she knows that Tony has a spy on the inside of Orchis. And she couldn't help but to believe his spy was none other than Firestar. Now given the nature of their situation, Tony tells Emma he thought they agreed to compartmentalize their moves from one another to avoid leaks. But see, sometimes different agendas intersect with each other, which could create a problem in itself. For Emma tells him Firestar has been targeted by a rogue mutant assassin who she has no hope of surviving. So immediately Tony rushes to convey that information to his mole on the inside of Orchis. While all that is going on, we skip over to Kamala Khan, who was also leading a double life, trying to balance her identity as Miss Marvel, the newly discovered mutant, while trying to maintain her cover as a high school student. For she infiltrated an Orchis-funded program at Empire State University. Now Orchis propaganda ensured the anti-mutant sentiment filled the airwaves to the point where it was translating into violence on the street. So in order to keep her identity hidden, Kamala had to find another way to deal with the attackers, which was to record the event in hopes of scaring the people off. Now the crazy part about this whole situation was that the woman that was being attacked was not even a mutant, but instead was a person with alopecia, which meant anyone who was different wasn't safe. So following that we transitioned over to the Bloom station that was located above Earth. And just like a regular military installation, it received regular deliveries, but this time, this one had a stowaway inside its hull, breathing comfortably with scuba technology. For Shadowcat knew she wouldn't have long once she breached the station. She also knew she wouldn't need long to kill one traitor. So in preparation for this, she had planned several means of escape and left the Krakoan gates as her last resort. For her ability to transition was still a tactical advantage worth killing to protect. Now with that said, Tony Stark's warning hadn't come soon enough for Firestar to leave the station, so she had no choice but to fight. And just like the previous issue, our girl Shadowcat just completely decimated everyone who stood before her. With little to no effort, she phased through laser fire and cut everyone down in the most gruesome way possible, until she arrived right outside Firestar's room with a trail of blood in her wake. So with anticipation and fear rising within Firestar, she attempted to tell Kate that she had a crazy story to tell her, and all she needed to do is just hear her out. But see, Firestar was just wasting her breath because Kate had other plans. Because the only thing she wanted to hear from Firestar was her last breath. So with Firestar yelling for Kate to listen, Kate drove her blade deep within her head in preparation for her final blow. So with time running out, Firestar just laid everything out on the table and told Shadowcat at the gala when it was clear they have lost. Jean telepathically inserted memories into Stasis's head about recruiting Firestar, and which made her a double agent so she could help whomever survived, and whatever way she could. And before she could tell anyone else, Jean ended up dying. And now because of that, Firestar is here alone trying to do whatever she could, even though she didn't ask for this, but despite her not wanting it, Jean did it anyway. And if she was being honest, she didn't even want to be an X-Man, but now that she is, she knows she can be important. Because within Orcus, she could be of service. For she is a mutant and proud of it, for she resisted. But with Shadowcat face remaining unchanged, Firestar tells Kate that Jean made it all up as she was dying, and if you're going to kill me anyway, then maybe she should stop holding back and unleash her power on this station and send it crashing into the planet below. So with everything out there, Shadowcat removes her mask and says that's the most Jean story I've heard in all my life with a smile on her face. So with the battle over, Kate helped her once perceived enemy to her feet and prepared to make her escape. So with everything good between the two ladies, Firestar asked who else survived the massacre during the gala. In which Kate replies by saying she doesn't know. And even if she did, she wouldn't have told her anyway. Because that kind of information is on a strict need-to-know basis. Because departmentalizing information is key to running an effective resistance. Pretty much not trying to put all your eggs into one basket, in case someone gets caught. So with Kate turning her down in regards to information, Firestar then goes on to ask if Kate could at least tell her allies not to attack her in the future. In which, funny enough, Kate also denies her request. Because according to Kate, it would be good for her cover if she fights against mutants every once in a while. So with the matter settled, Kate goes on to tell her that she wants to let her in on a little secret because she wants her to know her truth. And her truth is that she can kill her at any time if she ever decides to play both sides. And she does this by revealing her ability to phase through the gate. And before leaving, Kate tells her to make the most of Jean's sacrifice and use whatever intel she gets to disrupt whatever she could. So with the two women on the same page, Kate makes her way to an alley behind the Hellfire Club to meet with Emma to debrief her on the current events. But see, Emma only had one question on her mind, and that was where were they keeping Cyclops? For it has been weeks since he was taken, and they need to hurry up and find him before it's too late. So if Kate wanted to leave the relative safety of her cover and drive off a cliff with her as they dedicate themselves to revenge, then Emma needs to know for sure if Scott is still out there. Because up to this point she had paid Stark back for his kindness and got him everything he needed to build a new suit. And if he needs anything else, then the Kingpin is more than capable to help him with whatever may come up. So with that said, Kate states that they are gonna make a good team. And there is not a single person out there they can't kill together as Emma entered the club to say her goodbyes. For Emma Frost had dreamed of revenge against the people who had done this. She looked forward to ending Dr. Stasis, the aspect of Sinister who had vexed mutant kind since before Krakoa. There was also Moira X, the traitor, and of course Phylong, the man who has failed to conquer Mars but somehow taken Stark's Iron Man technology by force. She really looked forward to killing him, but to her surprise he was right in front of her at the club. So with anger in her heart, she immediately went to take off the ring that hid her powers from the Sentinels just for the opportunity to take Phylong out. But before she could do so, Tony yanked her up and carried her to a back room to talk to her alone. Because up to this point, Emma has laid low and did everything she was told to help secure mutant-kind future. But one thing she couldn't do is allow Phylong to live. So with that said, Tony points out if Emma takes off that ring inside of this building, then every Sentinel around will know exactly where she is located. And all it will end up doing is prolonging the war. So he begs her to not remove the ring as well as to avoid using her ability to wipe Phylong's mind clean. because within his mind is information that Tony sorely needs to complete his newest Iron Man armor. So with emotions high, Emma kicks Tony down under, causing him to fall to his knees before Phylong enters the room. So with that said, Phylong asks Tony if he was trying to marry the Help, and which he replies by saying yes. He was trying to before he interrupted him. So with the marriage announced, Shadowcat is left to walk the path alone. Now with that said, issue 26 of X-Men comes to an end. So down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.